Now we are going to leave Serbia and go into Kosovo. When we were in Belgrade, we asked our guide, what should we do when we're in Kosovo? And she said, not go there. And I said, what will we find there? And she said, you will find corruption, drugs, and prostitution. And I must admit, we didn't. But we did see an enormous number of burnt out houses. We also saw a very large number of identical houses in a row that no one was living in. And our guide was able to tell us that families bought up quantities of land. The people whose family had bought this land up sent their sons and daughters into Western Europe to earn incomes. And their pride and joy was the money they sent home built these houses that they would probably only ever be able to holiday in because there is no employment. We came over the border and our place to see was a Peja here. Now, Peja's, again, when I asked our driver, what is the best thing to do in Peja? What should we look at? And he said, the hotel you're staying in is the best thing there. So, that was quite an eye-opener too. But Kosovo Serbs are one of the ethnic groups of Kosovo. There are around 96,000 Kosovo Serbs as of 2014, and about 3/4 of them live in North Kosovo. Other Serb communities live in the southern Kosovo. After Kosovo Albanians, they form the second largest ethnic community. But notice, it's less than 7%. And in 2007, 92% of the population were Albanians. I think we can quite clearly see that Kosovo is an Albanian state. Following the breakdown of negotiations between the Serbian and Albanian representatives under the North Atlantic Treaty Organisation auspices, NATO intervened in March 1999 without United Nations authority. NATO launched a campaign of heavy bombing against Yugoslav military targets and then moved to wide-range bombings like bridges in Novi Sad. A full-scale war broke out as the KLA continued to attack Serbian forces and Serbian Yugoslav forces continued to fight the KLA amid a massive displacement of the population of Kosovo, which most human rights groups and international organisations regarded as an act of ethnic cleansing perpetrated by the government forces. The United Nations estimated that during the Kosovo War, nearly 40,000 Albanians fled or were expelled from Kosovo. Between March and April, most of the refugees went to Albania, the Republic of Macedonia or Montenegro. Government security forces took and destroyed the documents and licence plates of many of the fleeing Albanians in what was widely regarded as an attempt to erase the identities of the refugees. The term identity cleansing being coined to denote this action. This made it difficult to distinguish with certainty the identity of returning refugees after the war. Serbian sources claim that many Albanians from Macedonia migrated to Kosovo in the guise of refugees. The entire issue is moot, however, due to the survival of birth and death records. Okay, and that gives you some idea of the NATO bombing in Kosovo. It was quite intensive in some areas and less so in others. That is the hotel we stayed in, so it was the only thing worth seeing. Except, of course, the Orthodox churches, which again were stunning, but the frescoes were in much better condition in most of them than were the Catholic frescoes. And now we're heading into the mountains and over the mountains and into Macedonia, now known as Northern Macedonia. The capital is Skopje. It's a city of great charm and fabulous Turkish-style market. Everywhere there are huge statues. In the middle of the main square stands the man on the horse, Alexander the Great, but no one calls him that, as the Greeks are very jealous of their hero, who was actually born some 100 miles away. The low income levels in Macedonia mean that many citizens have to leave the country to work in EU states where they can earn a decent living. But as you can see, the river is important and the statues are just amazing. That's the man on the horse. And perhaps what really I found very interesting is this ultra-modern building with a picture of Mother Teresa, and then I found out why. She was born in Skopje. If you judge people, you have no time to love them. Mother Teresa. Skopje, 1910, Calcutta, 1997. The man on the horse. The civic buildings are pretty amazing around that square. Beautifully built, and that was a museum of agriculture, and it was particularly interesting. Fabulous art galleries too. Now, there is Skopje, and we're now going over to Kratovo, which is a town that lies in an extinct volcano. As you can see, the area was very rich in minerals, and for many hundreds of years it was a source of great wealth, and consequently it became known as the town of towers, because they had always had someone on the lookout to make sure someone wasn't coming to take their wealth away from them. And there again, it was also, I could say, a town of bridges. There were bridges everywhere over the river that ran through the centre of it. And just outside the town was the Lenovo Monastery, which again was a very, very charming garden set place, which was still an active monastery. Mosaics in not so good condition. even worse condition. And now we are going from over here to Galishnik here. And from there we will go down to Okrin, which is one of the largest freshwater lakes. And I suppose it would be the holiday place that everyone from North Macedonia would like to flock to. It's lovely. This is a newborn foal. We saw the tiny little baby be born and another in the same place. It was quite an experience, and the people, this is where people would come to their holiday cottages, and it's where they would go bushwalking or horse riding. And my friends went horse riding from there, and at one point they actually saw a brown bear. So I thought that was very scary.